What's been great about the UK and the US as countries that have had immigration over and over again, successive waves of immigration, both ethnic and various other kinds, is that people have come to the UK, people have come to the US with values in common. They've come and they have become British or become Americans. They have come believing in democracy, capitalism and freedom. There's one group, one religious culture that has failed to do that everywhere that it has arrived. British Muslims are now less integrated and less assimilated, not more, than their parents and their grandparents' generation. We're now sending as many people to ISIS as Belgium, which is like a jihadi hotspot, right? You don't have large numbers of working class Muslims in this country. You have terrorists and you have nice middle class people who could afford to fly here, right? You don't have 1.4 million migrants like Germany does. But when you start to, if your politicians go the same way as Trudeau in Canada, when you start to, you're going to see some of this stuff happen. And, you know, in answer to your question, the best thing that people can do is be educated about the realistic risks of living in close proximity with people who want them dead. The only people who are surprised by the fact that Muslims don't like gays very much is journalists, politicians, and celebrities. Everybody else gets it. The only people who are surprised are the people who write your newspapers. Any other questions?
Just wanting to stir things up, the former Breitbart editor, known for making inflammatory statements. We have I don't know, reached to the grab bag and came up with these. Birth control makes women unattractive and crazy, and Muslims are allowed to get away with almost anything. He is speaking at a sold-out event at Cal State Fullerton tomorrow night. First of all, every time we have you here, people get mad at me. You have to understand.
They get mad at you?
Yeah, I didn't necessarily
mad at me?
do the book. No, they're always mad at you to begin with.
Oh, okay.
But then you have some heroic people who think you're wonderful, and anything we say to you, they jump all over.
Well, wonderful. They're sensible viewers.
So you say. All right. So, Milo, right in the news right now, we did the story about Kevin Spacey. This speaks to your life very much, because the issue of homosexuality, pedophilia, etc., has been very much in your life and controversial with you. What is your reaction to the story?
Well, it's amazing that the left is eating its own like this and going for its own people. But what I found absolutely disgusting about his response, as somebody who's been a victim of that earlier in my life, is that his excuse was, oh, well, if I did it, I don't remember, it was a long time ago, I was drunk. And by the way, I'm gay, as a way of sort of saying, well, so I'm untouchable, so I must enter this victim class that you're not allowed to criticize. And in doing that, he conflated, and this is the one thing that I thought, you know, that the gay rights activists hated more than anything else, was conflating gay people with child molesters. That's exactly what he's done. I mean, he's literally committed the cardinal sin of, you know, gays in public life.
As you know, people who are anti-gay, many people who are anti-gay, do exactly that. They say that
I think in the past that was true.
Gays can't have children, so therefore they have to groom and enlist.
I think in the past that was true.
Was true.
And what has Kevin Spacey done? Confirmed that bigotry. Confirmed that nasty insinuation. That horrible thing that goes off in the back of people's minds when some people's minds, not many these days, I don't think. Maybe in the past, that if somebody's gay, there must be something deeper and darker and more sinister about them. Well, thanks, Kevin Spacey. And you know what it shows also is that he's appealing to this sort of liberal social justice, victimhood, identity politics stuff, where if you're a member of a protected class, you get special passes. And that's what I meant with the sort of Muslims can get away with anything. What I really meant was liberals mollycoddle and pander to certain groups.
You know, it's interesting.
And gay people are one of those groups.
You put everything in the political framework. There's nothing left about accusing or being upset with Kevin Spacey. There's nothing left or right about that.
Well, there shouldn't be. But it's interesting. His reaction was designed to elicit a particular kind of protective response. And that protective response is a result of identity politics, which comes from the left.
Yeah, but identity politics also comes from understanding people have been marginalized in the past and did need protection, and perhaps still do.
In the past, for sure. I think the argument as to whether or not they still do, gays, I think we're doing fine. Women, absolutely not. Black people in this country, yes. I think it's more complex than just, these are victimhood groups, this vast mass of people who are just not straight white males. All these people are victimhood groups, so they all require protection and special treatment and affirmative action, and they mustn't be offended, and we must be really careful about what we say around them. No, gay people are doing fine. We should be held to the same standards as everybody else. And Kevin Spacey is undermining that with his excuse-making.
You mentioned black people. You ever want to apologize? Did you ever want to apologize to Leslie Jones?
No.
Why not?
Because I didn't do anything wrong.
Well, you conflated her in pictures with an ape.
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
No, I absolutely did not.
What did you put up there?
I said that it was nice that they had a hot black guy in the new Ghostbusters movie. I made a joke about her looks, which I'm entitled to do. If I can't tell jokes about how a celebrity looks, you know that I think we're in real trouble. But I never compared her to an ape. I did nothing racist whatsoever. Some people on the internet did that, and I was blamed for it.
Did you
and
retweet those things?
No, I did not. I don't blame you for thinking so, because a lot of news reports have said so. But,
yes.
But being challenged by me, not a single reporter has ever been able to produce evidence, because it doesn't exist.
Are you still not allowed on Twitter?
No, I'm not. And you know, Roger Stone has
is now
just been
Twitter.
banned. Well, see, I'm always patient zero of this stuff, because I'm a little edgier and a little funnier and a little, you know, and I appeal to younger people, so I have a huge, like millions and millions audience. And so I'm kind of, I'm patient zero. I'm the canary in the coal mine for this stuff. You know?
I want to get to this. We touched on it a little bit last time. You, for many people who pay a little bit of attention, are the leader of the alt-right. You're the leader of the alt-right. That's what they think.
Journalists have invented this.
I'm
a gay Jew with a black husband. How am I the leader of this anti-Semitic lunatic movement?
But
they hate me as much as I hate them.
But you inspire them. Would you have gone to Charlottesville?
The Daily Storm? No, of course I wouldn't have. I don't agree with them on the race stuff. I once said that I was a fellow traveler on some issues, and I was speaking specifically about political correctness and feminism. The Daily Stormer, which is the leading white supremacist blog, declared a holy war against me, their words, and said that they were going to boycott Breitbart until Breitbart fired me.
What is the alt-right?
They hate me as much as I hate them.
What is the alt-right?
Well, when we originally defined it at Breitbart, we thought it was a broad anti-political correctness revolt, a populist nationalist revolution of the type that Steve Bannon, Uncle Steve, is leading, you know, on Trump's behalf outside the White House. Since then, the term has become restricted to mean basically neo-Nazi, with the result that I hate them as much as they hate me. And you don't have to take my word for it. Just listen to what they say about me. They can't stand me. Young people who don't like political correctness, who are frustrated with feminism, who see holes in the arguments in Black Lives Matter, love me. But those people are not alt-right, and those people are not bigoted. Those people are not hateful, and neither am I.
Do you get scared?
No.
No?
No, that bit of my brain is missing, I think.
Oh, yeah. I might agree with that. But if you don't stir things up, do you feel like you have failed?
No, I think that the fact that I'm so controversial, when really I express opinions shared by millions of ordinary Americans, just in the same way that Trump and Steve and Breitbart do, I think the fact that I am controversial is interesting and is you know, the reason I exist. You know, the reason I can't go out and express perfectly reasonable, normal, mainstream conservative opinions in the style of a Joan Rivers or a Lenny Bruce without causing uproar, and it's very interesting. It's very interesting, and the double standard applied to me because I happen to, because I'm perceived as conservative, you know, whether or not I am particularly conservative in some issues, yeah. Because I'm perceived to be conservative, there's a double standard at play. We allow Bill Maher, we allow Jon Stewart, we allow, you know, Stephen Colbert to be funny and to be serious, to be cultural commentators and historians as well as clowns. But we don't allow anybody on the right to be like that. When they try, their jokes are judged as journalism, and their journalism is called a joke.
You're here, you can say whatever you want. All right? Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Don't go away. Milo Yiannopoulos, thank you for being with us. We'll be right back.
We hear a lot about moderate Muslims. In practice, we simply don't see them. All the moderate Muslims I know are ex-Muslims, or they haven't been to Friday prayers for months or even years. London has just elected a so-called moderate Muslim mayor, Sadiq Khan, who is praised as a moderate, but many have been wondering just how moderate he really is. Khan has banned sexy underwear advertisements from the underground, which is like our subway, our metro. It's one of those other weird cases in which you sort of see feminists and Islam working in tandem, like a sort of unholy alliance. It's very weird. Does he want to make the underground more Sharia compliant? Or is that just a happy circumstance of pandering to feminists? Well, if the outcome looks the same, what's the difference? Sadiq Khan's met with a lot of shady people in his life, and this is also the mayor who is happy. This is the mayor of London. The mayor of London. He's perfectly happy to show up to segregated rallies where the women have to stand at the back and cover their heads. And he says nothing about it. He says absolutely nothing about it. In one of the great cities of the West, one of the most important, possibly the most important city in the world, women are being forced to sit at the back. We're having segregated public spaces again. And this has crept up on us out of nowhere. I don't want the same thing to happen to the US. This is a mayor who says, by the way, that part and parcel of living in a big city is terrorism.
They wanted it made illegal. 39% of British Muslims, this is British Muslims, by the way, not Muslims in Syria. This is not Raqqa, this is London, this is 2 streets away from where you live. 39% of them think a woman should always obey her husband. These are regressive attitudes. These are terrifying attitudes for modern liberal capitalist democracies that have fought for decades to give women and minorities the rights that they deserve. This culture is coming into Europe. For hundreds of years, Europe was a mesmerizing and unique place in world culture. It was the pinnacle of art, music, philosophy, history, science, you name it. This is the continent of Hume, Hobbes, Shakespeare, Mozart, and Wagner. But something's happened to that continent recently. Something has changed. As a result of unaccountable and incompetent globalist bureaucrats, the nature of the continent is changing, and it's becoming defined not by those incredible innovations, but instead by fear. France, the motherland of Berlioz, Cézanne, Debussy, and Monet, now has no-go zones. The police don't enter there. Why? This is what we've allowed to happen to our civilization. This is what we've allowed to happen to our communities. To my mind, this is the single greatest threat to the stability, safety, security, and happiness of you and your family. Britain doesn't need to share this fate. It doesn't need to buy into the suicidal open-door refugee policies of Germany or the no-go zones of France. The UK has a brighter future, or at least it could do if it makes the right decision this week. I was in Orlando last week, the site of the deadliest shooting attack in American history. And it was committed, of course, by a Muslim who hates gays. In my hometown, London, we've elected a mayor, Sadiq Khan, who's called a moderate, but he cozied up to some pretty ugly individuals in the past when he was an advocate and a lawyer. And people are starting to ask questions. They're starting to wonder why the minute he was elected, his wife donned a hijab. Why he's having segregated rallies where women in headscarves are standing behind men. Why he's picking fights with Donald Trump because the presumptive Republican nominee had the audacity to say, maybe America has a Muslim problem. And now Sadiq Khan wants to ban images of women on the tube. He might be doing it in the name of feminism, but it sounds suspiciously like what we've heard from other parts of the world, doesn't it? America is still reeling from the senseless attack in Orlando. What everyone here is asking themselves is, how can we prevent it from happening again? Well, here's one thing we do know. There's no reason to suppose that Muslims in Europe have any higher opinion of gays, women, blacks, Latinos, or any of the rest of us than their counterparts in America. Immigrant used to mean somebody who moved from one country to another to better their chances, to improve the quality of life for them and their family. But the Muslim immigrants in Europe don't